The rescue team thought they were looking at just another stranded animal. But this bobcat behaved unlike any creature they had ever seen. It wasn't trying to escape. It wasn't trying to attack. It was guarding the sinking car. As if its life, and someone else's life, depended on it. And when officers finally shattered the window and looked inside, every single one of them froze. Because what that bobcat had been protecting was something no one was prepared to see. Stay with the story. Because this rescue wasn't just about survival. It uncovered a truth that changed everything. Morning sunlight broke over the Tennessee hills, turning the floodwaters into a shimmering sea of gold. What was said to be quiet roads were now rivers. Cars flight there like abandoned toys. Roofs peeked from beneath the waves. Officer Marcus Harper guided the rescue boat through what once was Main Street. PCS partner, Officer Bradley, scanned the waters, calling out debris, vehicles, and anything that looked like movement. Another sweep down Maple Avenue, Bradley said. 10 we hit back. Most people got out yesterday. Harper nodded, Tau Anis pulled at him. The flooding was worse than he had ever seen. 3 days of relentless rain had drowned the valley, ripping through the town with no mercy. But 10. Bradley pointed ahead. Wait, do you see that? Harper narrowed VHS ace. There, perched on top of a half-submerged sedan, was a shape he couldn't quite recognize at first. Something alive. Something clinging. Something refusing to move. As they drew closer, Harper realized what it was. Not a tree. Not a house cat. A bobcat sitting wet, trembling, and yet fiercely planted on the chair's roof, its claws dug deep, its eyes blazing with desperate determination. Something was terribly wrong. And Harper's instincts told him this animal wasn't just stranded. It was protecting something inside that sinking car. The rescue boat drifted closer, the engine humming gently through the floodwater. Officer Harper slowed to a crawl, not wanting to spook the creature perched on the car roof. But what startled him wasn't fear, it was the bobcat's loyalty. Despite the rising water, despite exhaustion carved into every line of its trembling body, the animal held its position like a guard on duty. Bradley lifted the binoculars. Markers, look at it, says Toy. Harper didn't need binoculars. Even from a distance, the yellow, burning gaze of the bobcat locked onto him, warning, pleading, protesting. Not wild aggression. Not panic. Something else. The boat bumped lightly against the chair's side. Water slashed over the windows. The vehicle was sinking slowly, inch by inch. And still, the bobcat stayed. Poor thing has to be terrified, Bradley murmured. No, Harper replied softly. This isn't terror. This is purpose. The bobcat yelled sharply, a deep, guttural sound that sent a ripple up Harper's spine. It wasn't lashing out in random fear, it was defending the car. Why won't it leave? Bradley asked. Harper shook his head. Because something or someone is still inside. He reached out with the boat hook, trying to tap on the window. The moment the metal touched glass, the bobcat lunged there, swatting the hook with surprising force before returning to its protective stance. See that? Harper whispered. It's not trying to escape. It's trying to stop us from messing with the cart. Bradley frowned. That's not normal. Wild animals don't guard their objects. Exactly, Harper said. He looked closer at the bobcat and froze. Bradley, look at its necktie. 18 blue color clung to the sacked fur. A color. Not wildlife tracking gear. A pet color with a tiny silver bell attached. Someone raised AT, Bradley said. Someone on AT, Harper muttered. Or someone trapped AT, Bradley added grimly. Harper took a breath. I'm going into. Marcus, are you insane? Something's wrong here. And that animal knows more than we do. We toured another ort. Harper tightened his rescue vest and slid into the freezing floodwater. The cold punched the air from his lungs, but he pushed forward, swimming to the driver's side window. The glass was fudged from the inside. Completely opaque. With VCS flashlight, he wiped the glass, clearing a patch just big enough to peer through. What he saw drained the blood from VCS face. A jacket purple, with silver studs. He recognized it instantly. Luna Cliff. A officer sleeps 19-year-old daughter. Missing for 2 days. Bradley. Harper showered it. Call back up. Now. The Bob chat's growling intensified. Not at Harper but at the car sinking beneath the ram. It pissed frantically, looking down at the windshield, then back at Harper, urging him. Okay. I'm helping, he whispered. He pulled out VCS emergency glass sponge. Sorry about this, he said to the bobcat. One's tricky. The wind ich plodded inward. What happened next would begin a chain of events no one in the rescue team would ever forget. Cold water rushed into the car the moment the glass shattered. Harper reached inside, grabbing the sacked jacket and the purse beneath it. Luna's ID slid into view through the clear pocket. VCS hints began to shake. Luna Cliff wasn't just missing. She had been here. The bobcat suddenly leaned down from the roof, its paw tapping the jacket gently. Almost desperately. As if urging Harper to understand. You know her, Harper whispered. The animal blinked slowly, its ears twitching with anxious focus. It wasn't acting while it was acting connected. Harper climbed back into the boat with the jacket and purse. Bradley stared at the items, face pale. That's her. That's Luna Cliff. I got markers. What does this mean? That she was inside that car, Harper replied, catching his breath. And she didn't put this here by accident. The bobcat suddenly jumped leaping straight into the rescue boat. Bradley stumbled back, nearly tripping over the seats. Markers. It's okay, Harper said. Look at him. He's not king. He's coming with us. The bobcat pressed itself into the corner, eyes locked on the jacket, trembling with fear and urgency. Harper steadied the boat. Let's get to the command center. The floodwaters shimmered gold under the rising sun as they sped back. Bradley radioed ahead, alerting the team. Missing gear's belongings found. Passerable lead. Passerable danger. When they reached the makeshift command center at the high school GYM, Officer Daniel Clifflun's father rushed toward the ram. The moment he saw the jacket in Harper's hands, VCS body collapsed into grief and hope all at once. Where did you find this? He whispered. Harper explained everything. The car. The float. The bobcat. The color. The way the animal refused to abandon the vehicle. Sleeve pressure shifted from fear to confusion to tightly restrained rage. Why would she be in that car? Who would take her? And why was this animal protecting AT? Harper didn't have the answers. But Luna's social media might. Cliff opened Instagram, scrolling frantically through her photos. Her friends. Her comments. Then he stopped. A name repeated under almost every post. Calligram _ wildlife _ 85. Dozens of comments. Inside jokes. He had been watching her for months. Bradley pulled up records on the name. Markers. You've got a Jake Calligram. 24. Lives in the flood zone. And? Harper asked. Bradley saw a lot. Is flagged by fish and wildlife. As respected in illegal animal trafficking. Charges never stopped. The room froze. Cliff moved toward the door, fury burning through a VCS exhaustion. You're going. Right now. Daniel. Harper said, trying to steady him. We need to be smart. That's my daughter. The bobcat, still in the pet carrier, let out a soft yell as if urging the ram not to waste another second. Harper nodded. All right. Let's move to it. What they would find next would reveal a truth darker than any of the ram expected. The SUV cut through the floodwaters like a stubborn beast refusing to sink. Sirens echoed faintly behind the ram as they approached River Road, an area nearly swallowed by the rising waters. Hams stood like olive-drawned islands. Mailboxes and fences pocket out of the murky pool like skeletal remains. Harper gripped the wheel, eyes fixed on the map. 445 River Road. Cut the house toy. Cliff sat beside him, jaw clenched, hands trembling with a mix of fear and fury. In the back seat, the bobcat storm rested in the carrier, letting out soft, anxious sounds. As if guiding the alarm. Brady's voice crackled through the radio from headquarters. Proceed with caution. Float level rising. Medical on standby. State police en route. Harper responded, copy. You're almost at the residence. The house appeared through the trees. A modest store structure with water lapping against the porch. A man stood outside, sticking sandbags in frantic desperation. Jake Calligren. The moment he spotted the officers, VCS их pressed twisted into panic. Jake Calligren. Harper shouted. Don't move. Calligren froze, as darting to sleeves uniform turned to the pet carrier in the back seat where Storm watched him with a piercing, unblinking stare. I didn't do anything, Jake stammered, backing up against the porch door. Cliff stepped forward, holding up Luna's purse. You kidnapped my daughter. Where is she? Yikaya's face drained of color. He shook VCS head violently. It's not not what you think. Please listen. Talk, Harper ordered. Right now. I didn't hurt her, Jake cried. I swear. She found out about the animals about the business. I panicked. I locked her in the basement because I didn't know what else to do. Cliff lunged there, but Harper stopped him. Where is she now? Jake pointed toward the house, VCS voice cracking. In the basement, but it's flooding. I have been trying to get her out. I can't get the door open anymore. The wolf, it's too high. Cliff didn't wait. He shoved past Jake, slamming into the door so hard the frame rattled. Harper rushed after him. Water pulled across the living room floor, crawling toward the walls like a living creature. A heavy wooden door near the kitchen was swollen shut, water seeping through the cracks. Cliff threw VCS shoulder into it. No movement. Harper joined him. Together, they slammed again. Until the door burst inward, sending a wave of cold water crashing into the air. The basement was a nightmare. Chest deep water. Darkness swallowing the corners. Floating debris. And near the far wall, a wooden workbench, barely above the float line. Luna! Cliff shouted. Harper waded through the freezing water, feeling itches were along the submerged floor. Then he heard a faint cough. There, he yelled. Luna Cliff lay curled on top of the workbench, limp, sucked, shivering. Harper reached her first, lifting her gently into VCS arms as Cliff broke into sobs of relief. She's breathing, Harper said. Let's get her out. They carried her up the stairs as water continued to rise behind the alarm. Outside, as Luna gasped for air in the sunlight, Storm the bobcat let out a CRY. A CRY filled with relief. Because VCS human was alive. Water slashed through the hallway as Officer Cliff and Harper forced their way deeper into the collapsing house. The floor trembled beneath their boots, groaning under the pressure of the rising flood. Every second counted. Every daily meant Luna's chances were shrinking. Jake Calligren stumbled behind the RM, shaking, VCS voice cracking. I tried to get to her. The water kept rising. I didn't know what to do. Cliff spun, eyes blazing. Where is my daughter? Jake pointed toward a wooden door at the back of the kitchen, water leaking from its edges, swollen from my story. The basement, as it is down there. Cliff didn't wait. He slammed VCS shoulder into the door. It held. Harper joined him, both men trying their weight forward. On the third hit, the frame splintered, releasing a surge of cold, muddy water that rushed past their legs. The smell hit the air instantly dampness, and something else, the unmistakable musk of animals. The stairwell plunged into darkness. The water was halfway up the steps, swirling, rising. Cliff didn't hesitate. He plunged in, water sucking him up to VCS chest. Harper followed, gripping the railing for balance as debris drifted around the RM. Luna! Cliff's voice echoed, raw and frantic. There was no answer. Flashlights caught through the murky room, landing on overturned cages, broken crates, and scattered equipment. Chains hung from the ceiling. Tools littered the shelf straps, restraints, medical SRPLIs. Evidence of a hidden operation no one had noticed. Sleeves voice cricket again. Luna. Baby, answer me. 10, faintly. A weak, trembling sound. Ted. Cliff froze. Harper's beam swept the room until it stopped. Luna was curled on top of a wooden workbench, the only surface not submerged. Her clothes sucked, hair matted, face pale as porcelain. Her lips were blue, trembling from the cold. She was barely conscious. Cliff splashed toward her, nearly losing his footing as he reached her side. "A god!" Luna. He cupped her face, checking her pulse, her breathing. "She's alive," he whispered, relief breaking across his features. "She's alive, Toy." Harper helped lift her gently, keeping her above the rising water. Luna tried to speak, her voice weak. "Storm, the bobcat," he tried to warn me. I didn't want to leave him. Cliff swallowed hard, fighting tears. "You're safe now. We got you, Toy." Harper radiated for medical support, which his voice steady but urgent. "Rescue team, this is Unit 3. We have the missing girl. She's alive but hypothermic. We need transport immediately." Jake stood at the doorway, shaking uncontrollably as he watched Cliff carry Luna through the water toward safety. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this," he whispered. Harper grabbed Jake by the arm, pulling him back to reality. "You locked her in. You left her here. Whatever happens next, this is on you, Toy." Outside, silence approached through the flooded streets. Cliff carried Luna into the daylight, her head resting against his chest, her fingers gripping his sleeve as if afraid he might disappear. Storm the bobcat let out a soft cry from the pet carrier in the rescue vehicle, sensing movement, sensing her. Luna weakly lifted her head. "Storm," he saved me. Cliff nodded, voice breaking. "And you're going to save him too." The nightmare wasn't over yet. But the truth was finally beginning to surface. The moment Officer Cliff forced the basement door open, a surge of filthy, cold floodwater burst out, sucking the hallway and nearly sweeping him off his feet. Harper steadied him, but Cliff didn't wait. He plunged down the staircase, chest deep in dark water, calling his doctor's name with a voice that barely held together. "Luna! Luna! Answer me! Please!" The basement was pitch black except for a dim emergency light flickering near the ceiling. The rising water had swallowed the lower steps, turning the room into a drowned cavern. Every sound echoed drips, splashes, and the strained breathing of two officers terrified of what they might find. Harper swept his flashlight beam across the room. Cages. Metal cages stacked against the far wall, some open, some empty, some half submerged. The stench of animal musk made with mold hit TRM instantly. Harper's jaw tightened. Jake Callaghan had lied about letting all the animals go. And somewhere in this flooded prison, Luna was still here. Over here. Sleeves voice cricket, filled with raw desperation. He was standing at the far corner, water up to his waist, reaching toward a workbench that was barely above the waterline. Harper swam the last few steps, his vest brushing floating tools and debris. There. Luna Cliff lay slumped across the wooden surface, drenched, trembling, unconscious but alive. Sleeve's hands shook as he checked her pulse. She's breathing," he whispered, almost collapsing from relief. "Thank God. Luna, baby, wake up." Harper quickly assessed her condition. She was cold, exhausted, but there were no visible injuries besides bruises and sickness of extreme stress. She had fought hard. "We need to get her upstairs," Harper said. "Now, Toy." Cliff nodded, lifting his daughter while Harper supported her legs. The water resisted the RM, dragging at their movements, but adrenaline powered their steps. Every second mattered. As they reached the middle of the staircase, Luna stirred. A faint gasp escaped her lips. Her voice was barely audible, broken and weak. Cliff froze, tears filling his eyes. I'm here. I'm right here. You're safe now. You've got you. No, the bobcat. Luna forced the words out, panicked. Storm get out. He was trapped too. He trusted me. I told him. Harper felt a surge of understanding. Storm wasn't guarding the car. He had been guarding her. Is safe, Harper said gently. We have him. Is okay. Luna's entire body loosened with relief. For a moment, she looked like she might pass out again. But she kept her eyes open, fighting to speak. Jake. He locked me in the basement. He said he needed time to explain, to fix everything. Tears mixed with the floodwater. I wanted to see him. The trafficking, the kids. Storm trusted me. I had evidence. He found out. Sleeve's face hardened with a fury Harper had never seen in him. But he kept focus first. Luna, 10 justice. Upstairs, paramedics rushed in as soon as they emerged. They wrapped Luna in blankets, checked her vitals, and prepared her for transport. As they loaded her onto the stretcher, Luna reached out weakly and grabbed a horse at her sleeve. Storm saved me, she whispered. Please, don't let Terem take him right off. Cliff swallowed hard. You figure it out, he promised. I'm not letting anything happen to him. Not after what he did, Touch. But as Harper watched the paramedics wheel Luna outside, one unsettling truth pressed into Vichay's mind. Storm had risked everything to protect her. And whatever happened next would test the line between wild instinct and the kind of loyalty humans often failed to understand. The moment Officer Cliff burst through the flooded doorway, the smell hit him: damp wood, mold, and something sharp, something animal. Harper pushed in behind him as the murky water rushed past their legs, spilling from the basement stairs like a living creature desperate to escape. Luna! Cliff shouted, voice cracking with panic. There was no reply. Only the loud groan of the house settling under pressure and the distant rumble of the storm outside. Harper swept Vichay's flashlight across the waterlogged hallway. The beam flickered, illuminating claw marks on the walls, a fallen shelf, and muddy footprints that led toward the basement door fresh enough to suggest someone had struggled here recently. Jake Callaghan hovered behind the RM, shaking. I tried to get down there, he stammered. The water rose too fast. I told reach her, I swear I told. Cliff didn't even glance at him. For the first time since Luna disappeared, fear had been replaced by something sharper determination. He slammed Vichay's shoulder into the basement door. It rattled but held. Again. On the third hit, the weakened wood splintered, yielding inward with a violent crack. A wave of cold, muddy water surged up, nearly taking all 3 men off their feet. The basement was a nightmare. Dark, flooded chest deep, silent. Harper lowered himself into the icy water, gasping as the cold wrapped around him like steel bands. Cliff didn't hesitate either. He plunged straight in, driven by pure instinct. Luna! Cliff called again, Vichay's voice echoing through the caverns at her filled space. This time, a sound. Barely a whisper. Dead. Harper whipped Vichay's flashlight toward the far corner. There, balanced on top of a workbench barely above the waterline, lay Luna Cliff. She was unconscious. Skin pale. Breathing shallow. But alive. Daniel, she's here. Harper shouted. Cliff reached her first, hands shaking as he cupped her face. Luna, baby, stay with me. Harper climbed onto the workbench beside him, checking her pulse. Weak, but present. We need to move, now. The tears still rising. Together they hoisted Luna into their arms. The workbench wobbled, threatening to tip, but Harper stabilized it with one foot and took most of her weight onto Vichay's shoulders. When they reached the stairs, Harper took the lead, guiding Cliff through the churning water. Twice Cliff stumbled, slipping on submerged steps, but Harper's grip held firm. By the time they pushed through the doorway into the living room, flashlights and sirens were already visible outside the backup Bradley hit cold was arriving. They laid Luna gently on a DIY patch of flour. Harper checked her again, still breathing. Still fighting. Cliff leaned over her, brushing wet hair from her face, whispering her name like a prayer. Suddenly, Luna's eyes fluttered. Barely open, barely focused. Storm, she murmured. Did Storm get out? Storm. The bobcat. Harper's eyes widened as the pieces fell into place. This isn't a wild attack. This isn't random behavior. This bobcat isn't just loyal. It had led to Aram here. We have him, Harper said, squeezing her hand. Is safe to her. Tears slipped down Luna's cheeks. Relief. Gratitude. Exhaustion. But this was only the beginning. Because the truth about the bobcat, about Ika's operation, and about what Luna had discovered, was far from over.